Yo, still bills. What's the deal, man? Yo, I'm going on this food run, man. Regular living, man. Regular daddy duty. But peep game, man. We gotta get into this shit, man. I want to talk about the week after next festivities, man. I'm not about to get no prediction for Canelo and Berlanga, man. That's just a fight that I just really wish wasn't taking place. So we just gonna skip right to the bullshit to the week after next, man. And that is Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois. Um, Oh shit, got a call. Got a bit of a call coming. Hold up real quick. Gotta get out of this clusterfuck real quick. All right, there we go. So that right there is a damn good fight, man. When you look at both of their last two fights, it was certain things I was able to pick up on from their last two fights that has me, leaning in the direction that I'm eventually gonna lean towards. And you look at I think both of them do things better than one. Like, all right, cool. I think Daniel Dubois does some things better than Anthony Joshua, but it isn't by a wide margin. But the things that Anthony Joshua does better than Daniel Dubois is, in my personal opinion, a pretty wide margin, man. When you go back and you look at the Philip Hergovich fight, Philip Hergovich was landing that right hand consecutively, right out the gate, landing it consecutively behind the jab, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. It was never nothing, he would never switch it up. He would never hook and throw the two. He'd never lead with the two, you know, up jab two, uppercut two. It was never nothing like that. It was never nothing like that, man. He was throwing the same shot, he was throwing the same combination, throwing the same combination, and that eventually led to his detriment because he started countering, he started countering the right hand, and eventually timing the left hand or the jab. He checked the jab and step in with his own jab, whether it was to the chest or he catch him right on the chin. So I'm looking at him, I'm looking at him and how susceptible he is to the right hand, and I'm like, that's going to be really very much so problematic, man. One thing that I do think that he does better than Anthony Joshua, I think his feet are faster and I think his hands are faster. So I think he definitely has the edge in speed, but I think AJ has the better, the better and more educated feet. You dig? Where it's not, I'm trying to either get in, I'm either trying to close distance in the twinkling of an eye, or I'm trying to get out of the pocket in the twinkling of an eye. Nah, AJ takes, he's very subtle in his movements. He's very subtle in the steps he takes forward when he goes to advance, and he's very subtle in the steps he takes back when it's time for him to go on the retreat. And I'm watching this fight, and I'm like, yo, he's sharp. You can tell both of them got their confidence back. They're off of two really solid wins. Um, I'm excited for this fight, man. When I look at it, when I look at someone like AJ, I'm looking at someone who I don't like. I said the hand speed could be, the hand speed can be problematic. You dig? Daniel Dubois is a good counter puncher. He is, and he has a really good jab. He has a fast jab. You dig? It's not as snappy as AJ's, but it's a fast jab. It's a jab that you don't. And how he defends against the jab as well. He can nullify your jab by checking your jab and throwing a jab down the pike of his own. Or whether he's looking to land on the, right, bang on the chin or bang on the chest. It's a good jab. It honestly is, man. He can get in and out of range really quick for someone to be that size. Daniel Dubois is a sizable dude. That's a colossal sized human being. Just like Anthony Joshua, he has pretty fast feet to be able to, to be that size. But I'm not about to beat around the bush no more, man. I'm not that nigga who just leads up, who talks around in circles just to lead up to the punchline. I got Anthony Joshua stopping this dude. I got Anthony Joshua stopping this dude, and I'll tell you why, man. When you look at when you watch Philip Hergovich's fight against Daniel Dubois, and you see how the right hand is landing in concession. The right hand is consistently landing 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. And this is by a guy, when you look at Philip Hergovich's fight, it's a lot of, like Teddy Atlas likes to say, it's a lot of fat on those punches, you dig? He throws pretty wide. He throws pretty wide. His hooks aren't as tight. He throws uppercuts from, way out of range, you dig, to where you could possibly break your hand or break your wrist if the shot was to actually land. You dig? It's a lot of slapping. You dig? Just his punching technique isn't as compact as AJ's is, and yet he was able to find the right hand consecutively, consistently landed, like in the first round, especially. And the thing is with Daniel Dubois, I think with him, I don't think he really respected Hergovich's power, so he just kind of was eating them shots on the on the entry. He was eating those shots. He was eating those shots. I don't think that's a good thing going into this fight. Now, granted, his preparation for this fight is going to be far greater than it was in that fight because AJ's a much better fighter than Philip Hergovich, man. But old habits die hard, man. And I'm looking at him and I'm just like, yo, he's not moving his head. Well, he was moving his head, but he wasn't moving his. He'd have moments where he'd slip the shots, he'll roll up under the shots, and you know, you know, oh, he he roll up under the shots, he get up under the shots and all that shit, and but then he get right back to just fighting behind the hot guard and staying honest behind Ergovich is keeping him honest with those straight shots. Oh shit, yo, pause. Yeah, like I was saying, man, he was still in a position to get hit with those big, with those right hands and concession. And I think that is going to be the biggest takeaway of this fight, man. When you look at Anthony Joshua, he has a killer too. He has a killer 1-2, man. And on top of the 1-2, it goes back to his feet as well, where he's able to take those half steps back off the jab and launch that right hand down the pike off the pull counter or the step back or whatever it is you want to call it. We call it a step back at my gym. That right there is going to be the problem. I think, just his ability to just walk him into shots. His ability to just walk him into shots, man. If Daniel Dubois goes in there and just fights the way that he was fighting without getting to the side of the shots and up under the hooks and just tries to walk him down and wear him down, that's going to be to his detriment, man. And even in that, just the jab also, you dig? I think AJ has the harder jab. Daniel Dubois has the faster jab. Anthony Joshua has the harder jab, and I just think that right there is going to be a problem. I think Daniel Dubois' tenacity to get in on the inside is that's going to deal AJ some problems early on. That's going to deal him some problems early on, man. He's going to, his aggression is going to be a problem for the first couple of rounds, especially, man. He's really going to have to adjust to those to Daniel Dubois' level of aggression, man. He's hitting his jab and everything. And he, just when he gets in the pocket, he taps the body and all that. He's not going to be as methodical as he was with Philip Hergovich because this is a higher grade of fighter than a Philip Hergovich, and I don't think he respected Hergovich's power. Like I said earlier, he was just walking him down and just putting that pressure on him. And he doesn't have the luxury of having longer extremities than Anthony Joshua, so he's not going to be able to fight with him on the outside. Anthony Joshua and Hergovich is about eye level, and he was a little bit shorter than Hergovich. So I think he just and him knowing that he's gonna know he has to get in on the inside, and when he gets on the inside, he's gonna make it rough and rugged for Anthony Joshua early on, man. And it's gonna take a while for Anthony Joshua to adjust to his foot speed. The dude has fast feet to be that size, man. He does, and it's gonna take him a while to adjust to his hand speed as well. That shit is gonna, it's gonna take a while. But my thing is this, man. He's also, he's a hittable dude, man. Like he's a hittable dude. Like now, only the most defensively sound fighter in the division is Usyk, and fighters still got access to him as far as being a hittable dude. Even though he doesn't get hit as often as other fighters, he was still every fighter is hittable. You dig? You just got to find the right shot to land. You dig? You got to find the proper punch to throw. If you're able to adjust to their timing and their defense and just their mannerisms in the ring, and when you look at someone like Daniel Dubois, he's a lot easier to figure out than someone like a Usyk, man. And when you got someone who has a limited offense and a repetitive offense and Hergovich, and you're getting clipped that often that early, it's just hard for me to not see how Anthony Joshua won't have it, that same type of success, but amplified in his favor, man. And it's like I said, it's not just the 1-2, it's the uppercuts. Because Daniel, Hergovich was throwing the uppercuts, but the range that he was throwing the uppercuts from it wouldn't have been no snap on him if they did land. He landed one, I want to say, and it landed like in his body, and it wasn't really nothing on the shot because of how far out he was throwing it. He wasn't able to stand. He didn't plant his feet in the pocket, the pockets. He didn't land his feet, plant his feet in the pocket and really drive his uppercut into that man's chin or in his body. So it was just like, whatever. Anthony Joshua has a damn good uppercut in the pocket, and he's the faster in fight. He's better at infighting as well. But due to his uppercut. And I just feel like he's dealt with fleet-footed fighters as well. It gets no more fleet-footed than Usyk. They both lost to Usyk. But he fought another fleet-footed fighter in Otto Wallin. And look at how he did that man in 5 rounds. Look at how he controlled him at a range. Look at how he was stepping into the shots he got in, and he got out when he wanted to. Otto Wallin didn't win a round. He didn't win a second in that fight. He spent a lot of the time tap dancing, which that's his bread and butter, man. But when you fought somebody like that and you deal with him in the capacity that Anthony Joshua dealt with him in, someone who has that same attribute at their disposal, but maybe not as prominent at it, is not is just gonna it's not gonna be an easy fight. I'm not saying that, but they're accustomed to that. They're accustomed to that, and I just think that is that's the difference between the two in this fight right here, man. That's the two. Daniel Dubois, I think we're gonna see the best version of Daniel Dubois. I think we're gonna see the best version of both of them, man. Because like I said, both of them dealt with the same. They dealt with the same adversity as far as what the public was trying to deem them as being mentally weak and broken after the fights that they were in. Anthony Joshua losing to Usyk twice. Is this for me? Oh, hold up, pause. Thank you. Appreciate you. You have a better one. All right, let me count up the bread, make sure everything is in here. Hold up a minute. Oh, they forgot my nuggets and my goddamn. They forgot my nuggets and my goddamn quarter pounder. I think they gave me an extra fry too. The stick. I seen rock. Got to spin the block. But let me sure I got all that. Yeah, my bad. But Otto Wallin, like I was saying, Otto Wallin is I think he has the better feet than someone like a Daniel Dubois. He has the better feet, and look at how AJ was able to nullify his fast feet. His educated feet on top of just having fast feet. I'm just looking at. I'm finding it hard to believe that Anthony Joshua won't have that same type of success that he had with oh, he won't have that same type of success with someone like a Daniel Dubois. Just don't see it happening, man. And that's another. I think that's what I was saying before I was, before I got. Hold on, real quick. Pause. All right, I'm finally back. Yeah, now we can talk. but yeah, that when you're looking at someone like Philip Hergovich who has a limited offense and a predictable offense is just and they're still finding success even in the rounds that he's losing. He's still finding success. He's bleeding profusely out of both sides, out of both of his eyes, and he's still finding a home for that right hand. It's hard for me to imagine someone like a more seasoned fighter and veteran and Anthony Joshua, two-time unified world champion, can't duplicate that same level of success. You dig, with the uppercuts, the counter punching. Philip Hergovich isn't a counter puncher. So that's he likes to lead the dance, and he has the generosity of genetics on his side, where he doesn't have to walk somebody in the shots. He can just pepper you with the jab. You dig? Everybody don't grow to be 6'5" and 6'6". You dig? Anthony Joshua was a different story though. You dig? So I'm having a hard time seeing how Daniel Dubois can win this fight. I'm having a hard time, but as I stated, they both are in a position where they were both being counted out. They were both being ostracized for their losses, and they found a way to persevere after all of that. And I think we're gonna get the best version of both fighters. I honestly do. I think Daniel Dubois knows what's at stake in this fight, and I think he wants to have his first official title defense going into this fight. So he's not coming in there to lay down. I know he's in there. He's in there training his ass off. Shit, what we saw from the face off some weeks ago, he's like, man, you ain't. And look what he just said, man. If you want respect, you better go be a lawyer. Then you're not finna play with me like that, bro. Like I don't give a fuck about none of that shit you talking about. I dig that shit. I dig that shit. This is gonna be a banger, and the fact that it's only gonna be $20 is just adding to the fireness of this fight, man. So, but I'm going with Anthony Joshua, or I think he's gonna stop him around between like I want to say the eighth and the ninth round, man. I want to say the eighth and the ninth round. I honestly do. While I think Daniel Dubois is a good counterpuncher, I don't think he has a multitude of ways to counterpunch. In particular, walking him into that backhand. I think that right there is going to be a major factor. He's going to pepper him with the jab. He's going to start to land the two off of the jab. And when you start getting hit like that, frustration builds. And as frustration builds, that leads to mistakes. And we're going to start to see Daniel Dubois, his aggression begin to work against him, where he's trying to answer back what Anthony Joshua is landing. And that's going to get him caught up. That's going to get him caught up. That's going to get him walked right into some backhands. And I see an uppercut, bro. I see Daniel Dubois walking into an uppercut, man, in the pocket. You dig? I think eventually, he's gonna, like I said, his aggression is gonna work against him, and he's gonna find himself in the pocket. And Anthony Joshua is gonna place that right uppercut up the middle, split the guard, and I think that's gonna be all she wrote for fucking for Daniel Dubois. I honestly do. But I don't know nothing, But Daniel Dubois, this is gonna be a tough fight. This is going to be a tough fight. It's gonna be a tough fight. I think it's gonna be back and forth early on, especially early on. I think Anthony Joshua is gonna be at the rounds that he wins early on will be edged, and I see Daniel Dubois squeezing out some early rounds as well. I see him squeezing out some early rounds as well. I think Daniel Dubois will be. I think he'll win his rounds a little bit more in dominant fashion. The rounds that he wins early on, because Anthony Joshua is going to be in there really trying to figure him out, and Daniel Dubois, knowing that he's at a deficit as far as skill set is concerned, is going to be a little bit more effective early on, while Anthony Joshua gets to kind of like bide his time and figure this dude out a little. I can take my time a little bit right here. He's just a sharper fighter. So I think Daniel Dubois' early rounds that he'll win will be a lot more dominant, while Anthony Joshua will be edging the rounds that he wins early on, because now it's about getting in rhythm. It's about finding the punches that you're going to land. It's about just letting your hands go to see what's going to stick on the shot, on the target. So I think by the time round 6 and round 7 come around, no, I say 5 and 6. By the time those rounds start coming around, you'll start to see a bit of a separation in performance between the two of them. You'll start to see Joshua land at a higher clip. You'll start to see him counter a little bit more effectively. You'll start to see him get out of the way of shots a little bit more effectively, and he'll build on that rhythm right there. You'll start to see him get in the rhythm around that time. And I think by the time the seventh round, the sixth and the seventh round come, the end of the sixth going into the seventh round, you're gonna start to see Daniel Dubois begin to dissipate. And I think Daniel Dubois, I don't think he doesn't have the best gas tank neither. I just think, he gets his second win. And in the process of him getting his second win, that's when you're gonna see AJ begin to come on. Because AJ, I think with him knowing, bro, I'm 250 pounds, man. I can't punch. I can't go punch for punch. What the fuck is this nigga doing? These motherfuckers done lost their mind. But I can't go punch for punch with a nigga. You dig? I can't do that. I can't go punch for punch with a nigga. I'm a punch myself out. I got too much muscle build up, so I have to pick my shots a little bit more methodically. And I think now that he understands that, he's cognizant of how many shots he can let go in a combination without sacrificing his gas tank. And I think fatigue is going to start to set in with Daniel Dubois around about the time I said around the sixth, the fifth and the sixth round. And it's going to be all she wrote. But up until that time, it's going to be a competitive matchup. And like I said, I got Anthony Joshua stopping him around the eighth or the ninth round. You dig? So, but either or, I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, I'll come on here and let it be known that I was wrong. But I'm going with Anthony Joshua in this matchup. Eighth round TKO stoppage. I don't think he'll flatline him, but I think it'll be a TKO stoppage. And that's how I'm feeling about it, man. Let me know how y'all feeling about it. I'm about to go in here and kick it and eat my wings, man. Deuces.